What is something people think is very bad for you but is actually good for you? Quitting or knowing when to quit. This one, 10 out of 10. I just quit a job that shattered my mental and physical health. It was the competitive, well-paying, dream job that I wanted more than anything when I was just starting out in my field. Left it all behind for complete uncertainty, but an uncertain future is better than a certain and miserable future. As scary as it was, and as quitting was the best and bravest thing I've ever done. Not sure where I'm heading, but I know what I'm choosing to leave behind, and I know I don't want to go back in that direction, and that's a good enough start. Smiley face. Take care of your current selves and take care of your future selves. Quitting can be an act of courage. Feeling painful emotions instead of distracting yourself from them. Yeah, it's not good to face them all of the time, but ignoring them all of the time isn't really good either. Sex and masturbation. You can avoid a lot of health issues, generally related to the genitals of course, by doing those. It also helps a lot with depression and anxiety as it releases a lot of endorphin and dopamine. So jack off kids. I mean jack off, kids, do not jack off kids. Edit. As you, mollusk_meme said. Greater than as long as the sex is valid under the applicable consent laws, and the act of sex, masturbation doesn't corrupt you. If you become dependent on sex, and get very upset if it doesn't happen for a few days, then it's a problem. Commas are our friends. Crying. It's very healthy and a natural reaction to emotions, but people think it makes them weak and vulnerable. Greater than weak and vulnerable. I cry when I'm angry and frustrated. Failure. Hope you're not a skydiving instructor. Going to the psychologist. Fortunately, many people are starting to open their minds. Yeah, but it's fucking expensive. Not being busy. Not constantly hustling, or trying to do it all. Not living for the weekend. Downtime can be a good thing. Not having children, when you don't want to have children of course. Yup. People who want kids are happier when they have them. People who don't want kids are happier when they don't. Just having kids won't make you happy. Dark chocolate and nuts in low doses have very healthy amounts of fat. Nuts in low doses? As far as I'm aware, you can regularly snack on them as they are excellent source of various nutrients. Crow. Did a crow write this? Fat, as in food products. You still shouldn't just gorge yourself on fattening foods, but our bodies can process regular fat in food. What it can't process is the insane amounts of sugar that's in practically everything, which is what makes people fat. Your body doesn't know what to do with it, so it just stores it away as the blubber we all cry about. The worst thing is, 0% fat stuff that contains more sugar than their regular counterparts. Salt, sodium. It's one of the most common electrolytes that people consume, and in the case of those with iodine deficiency, iodized salt is a safe effective way to supplement iodine into your diet, and prevent goiter. Salt often gets vilified, because it can, but not necessarily will, elevate your blood pressure. Electrolytes are necessary for the electrochemical processes in your body to operate. Not enough electrolytes can cause organ, nerve, and metabolic dysfunction, leading to coma, seizure, and cardiac arrest. The misconception is that salt causes high blood pressure, hypertension, which is false. A possible effect of consuming salt is a temporary elevation of blood pressure. Doctors recommended following a low-sodium, salt diet, if you already have hypertension or if you've undergone heart surgery, because they don't want you to risk increasing stress on an already stressed heart, or unnecessarily stressing a recovering heart. This is why chugging a gallon of water can kill you. The imbalance of electrolytes can throw off your nervous system. Fat. You need it for your brain to develop and remain functional. Oxygen, on the other hand, will eventually kill you. Lack of oxygen will kill you much faster. Programmed cell death will occur in all multicellular organisms regardless of oxygen saturation. Dietary fat. Some theorize low-fat diets contribute to cognitive decline. Your brain needs fat. Failure and rejection. The best teacher, failure is. Some green muppet. Gluten. People give it up thinking it makes you fat, but actually, gluten-free food has more fat in it. It's just a protein, people. The only people who should avoid it are people who have celiac disease. Fat also doesn't make you fat. Eating more calories than you burn does. I think sugar is worse than fat. Being single, not being attached, responsible for other human lives gives you the ultimate freedom to risk it all and do what you actually want. Alone time. I've had countless times when I found myself alone and wanted to do so. It is perfect when you need to reflect on yourself and your life and find some answers. I socially isolate myself without realizing it simply because I'm so contented being alone. I'll often go a week or so without really talking to anyone outside of work, and I spend most weekends engrossed in my solitary hobbies. Have to remind myself constantly to keep in contact with friends and family, and since my family is entirely made up of introverts and I tend towards quiet friends, it's easy to go a while without interaction. Taking a break from exercise every now and then to focus on my mental health. Being mentally fit is more important to me than being a gym fiend. Quitting a toxic relationship. Not all but some people stay in a toxic relationship thinking that it's the right thing to do and it might help their partner to change. No. Leaving is actually good for the both of you. No one thinks leaving a toxic relationship is very bad. It's just very hard sometimes. Vaccines. Depends on the human receiving them. I cannot have them at all as they can trigger a response that may kill me. But that's my biology and underlying conditions. In general, vaccines are a very good invention. Daycare, kindergarten. It's largely a cultural thing, because I've never seen anyone against it where I'm from, and I don't even know anyone who didn't go to kindergarten or at least had a nanny who would take the kids and have them play with her own kids, etc. Most kids I know loved going to kindergarten or having a nanny, and not because they hated their parents or anything. But here on Reddit I've seen so many people saying it's basically the same thing as letting your kids be raised by strangers, and that if the family can afford it, the most ideal thing is having one parent stay at home until the children start school. Now I'm all for letting people make their own choices and do what they want with their lives, but it's this blatant prejudice against daycare, kindergartens as at best a necessary evil, and at worst, downright destructive, is what grinds my gears. Those people are usually all for traditional families, but they don't seem to know their history beyond 1950s suburban America. And for most of history, children being leashed to their mum all day long just wasn't a thing past infanthood. The saying, "It takes a village to raise a child," isn't fictional. That's exactly how people lived back then, in small, tight-knit communities and multi-generational household full of extended family members. Raising children was never meant to be one person's job. Human societies literally evolved to be as they are from the need to help mothers raise children. And only one additional person who only comes home in the evenings can't replace this extensive social support network either. Children start becoming a lot more socially independent as toddlers. They need to start interacting with more adults and other children, not just their parents. Otherwise it's a huge shock to them when suddenly one day their parents drop them off in a building full of unfamiliar kids and adults for approximately 6 hours, and they're expected to be able to concentrate and learn too. Kindergartens and schools are the last remaining relics, replacements of this close-knit community where children can create their own social lives. And yet I've seen so many Redditors bitching that parents only want schools to open up again so they don't have to take care of their children anymore, and can go back to work. I mean, aside from the fact that education is pretty important for children, they're right. But why is that a bad thing? Schools serve more than one purpose. Most women have always worked outside home. Parents today actually spend a lot more time with their children than 60 years ago. Parenting is becoming a lot more intensive. Even in my country it's no longer acceptable to give children the amount of freedom and independence and responsibilities my generation of children had. No wonder parents in Western countries today are feeling a lot more stressed and overworked. It has to be said, though, that daycare should never be a replacement for parental leave. Both children and parents need it. It's just sad that so many American parents have to quit their jobs just to be able to breastfeed their kids. While here you can take up to 2 years of maternity leave, paternity leave is still lacking, sadly. Look up Dr. Gabor Mate on YouTube and elsewhere. He was a GP who wound up working with addicts. Apparently, the neuroscience is very clear about infant-child development. Also, there are communities and societies that have basically no crime. He puts this all together pretty well. Farting. People think farting is bad for you? I'm going on a limb and say, Not joining those detox, cleansing products. They say it's good for you, but hey, it's really bad and not even working. It's actually good for you not to go on some fad detox diet. Drink enough water and you're good to go. WTF does detox even mean to these people? If detox actually worked, botulism and any other disease inflicted by toxin wouldn't exist. Soy. It has gotten a bad reputation for no good reason. It has been a staple in Asia for many generations over thousands of years. The rumors of making men less manly is unfounded. The phytoestrogens actually block mammalian estrogen and result in higher levels of testosterone in the blood. Vegans tend to have higher levels and often eat a lot of soy. August 24, 2020. Enhanced testosterone levels. A British Journal of Cancer study, which tested 696 men, 233 of whom were vegans, reported vegans had 13% higher testosterone concentration than meat eaters and 8% higher than vegetarians. Not drinking. People for some reason assume you can't have fun without alcohol, but me and my friends have always preferred having a chill reunion and talking over partying. I thought alcohol was supposed to be generally a toxic substance, but apparently not drinking automatically makes you a degenerate hermit where I live. People legit get angry with you if you tell them you've quit drinking. It's unreal. Magic mushrooms, in the right setting. I don't know why, but with young people going into the new experience of relationships. ***** communication. *****. It's not quirky and unnatural to know everything your son knows and wants. If you need something, say it. If there's something wrong, tell it and work it out. Don't be all huffy and puffy, thinking he doesn't know your thoughts. You should be mad at him.
Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.